We will define our vital interests in ways that are reasonable and that make sense to ordinary Americans. This is the approach and mindset that shapes the department's focus. As a result, the War Department will not be distracted by democracy building, interventionism, undefined wars, regime change, climate change, woke moralizing, and feckless nation building.
Except that they are in fact gonna do about half of that. To be clear, they still refuse to accept that climate change is happening. But the rest of the stuff, no, they're gonna do that. The interventions are now coming fast and frenzied every day. There's another country that they're threatening to intervene with. They've already done regime change. They're guaranteeing nation building. Really the only thing he was being super honestly about was that it's not gonna be about democracy. We're not going to expand democracy. All that stuff that we pretend to say about Maduro having been a dictator and isn't it better for Venezuela that we got rid of him? We're just saying we're gonna choose the next dictator. That's it. And thus, he's also right that there will be no woke moralizing about principles or philosophy or anything like that. And not just in Venezuela, of course, but coming to a Latin American or South American country near you. It could be Mexico, it could be Cuba, it could be Panama, it could be Greenland. By the end of next week, it almost certainly will be at least one of those. My money's on Greenland, although not literally. And the issue is that doing all of that nation building and interventions is expensive. Now, you might believe that, hey, we spend more on our military than basically every other country combined. Shouldn't that be enough? And after all, the Trump administration has been saying, we gotta rein in government spending, get rid of that waste, fraud, and abuse. No, not when it comes to the military. Because a $1 trillion military budget, that's nothing. Get a hold of a $1.5 trillion budget. That is what Donald Trump is now previewing on Truth Social, saying that after negotiations with all of these people, I have determined that for the capital G good of our country, especially in these very troubled and dangerous times, leaving off that they're troubled and dangerous because of him, our military budget should not be $1 trillion, but rather $1.5 trillion. This will allow us to build the dream military that we have long been entitled to. Blah, 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 a whole bunch of BS after that. So I just want to remind everyone, some of you might be living in Colorado. They were gonna build this pipeline to give you fresh water to an area that's largely red, it's conservative. It costs $500,000. We don't have money for that. We don't have money for SNAP or TANF. We don't have money for Medicaid. We don't have money for literally any of that stuff. You know what we do have money for? A lot of it, $500 extra billion. And only then will we have a cool military. For some reason, $1 trillion for 1 year. Not like building from scratch a military for $1 trillion. The maintenance costs of $1 trillion a year just doesn't cut it anymore, Yaz. What do you think?
This is appalling. This was to be expected though, right? There's no reason that the American country we've never invaded another country just because they have a bad leader there and they're not doing democracy right, or they're not doing it well enough that we have to just like go in there and help them, right? It's not our prerogative to do that. The only time we have ever gotten involved in any other country is because there's something in it for us, right? And this is a very expensive money-making operation for a very few corporations and for the American government, and it's expensive for us, for the American people, not for the billionaire American people, but just for the rest of us. And it's not conspiratorial to say that the American military complex, right? Whenever it goes out into the world to do its very moralistic missions, a lot of people are making money off of that, right? Including members of Congress, including those corporations that I alluded to earlier. So we need some kind of war, some kind of military operation to sustain our economy in a lot of ways. And on top of that, there's oil. We need the oil from countries like Venezuela and Canada and from the Middle East to sustain our economy here at home. They love to say that the United States is energy independent because we can frack all of our oil, but it's the wrong kind of oil. We still need the other kind that comes from places like Venezuela. And we have to be able to bring it here to places like Texas, like Houston, and refine all that oil. So it's never as simple as, the Venezuelan people really wanted me to go and take out Maduro, so I did that. No, all of this is always about money. It's always been about the economy. It's always been about power. And Trump now is talking about building up this incredible incredible military, as if we don't already have the biggest military in the world, saying it's not good enough for us. We need more, we need bigger, we need better. And he's invading countries like Venezuela already under the pretense of who's gonna do anything about it? Who's gonna stop me? Because there is no military that can take on the American military. So the American military, if we wanna get like old school imperialistic, just like the Russians are doing a little bit, who's gonna stop us? Who's gonna come up here and say, you know what, maybe can you just please not also take Greenland the way you just took Venezuela? He did, he just took Venezuela, he just took over another country, said, we're gonna run it, that's ours, their oil, that's my oil. It doesn't get more imperialistic, more colonistic than that.
100%. Yeah, primarily for the oil, but also for the elements that they keep telling us we need so that we don't fall behind in the world arms race on AI. So, we should break up NATO so that we can do AI. All those indispensable things that we use AI for? Like, I don't know, there's gotta be something, right? I know a lot of like Elon Musk loving incels love undressing 12-year-olds on Grok. I guess that's worth breaking up NATO for, I suppose.